Sometimes protecting the ones you love means making decisions that others won't understand. This is a story about a father who had to choose between keeping the peace in his home and standing up for his daughter's right to feel safe in her own room. My name doesn't matter. What matters is what happened in my house over the past few months. A situation that started small and spiraled into something that nearly tore my family apart. It all began when my brother-in-law, Sammy, lost his home after his divorce 10 months ago. My wife and I didn't hesitate to open our doors to him. Family helps family, right? But what we didn't anticipate was how 3 additional people moving into our home would change everything for our 16-year-old daughter, Zoey.
Sammy came with his 18-year-old twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane. They moved in about 2 months ago. At first, everything seemed fine. The girls weren't particularly close to Zoey, but they got along well enough. Or so I thought. It started with small things. Zoey would mention that her phone charger was missing. Then her favorite hoodie disappeared from her closet. At first, I thought maybe she was just being a typical teenager, misplacing things. But the complaints kept coming, and they got more specific. The twins were walking into Zoey's room without knocking. They were taking her things without asking. Makeup, hair accessories, clothes, even her school laptop. Just helping themselves to whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted it. I spoke to Olivia and Sloane about it. I tried to be reasonable, explaining that Zoey deserved privacy and that they needed to ask before borrowing anything. They nodded, apologized, and then continued doing exactly what they'd been doing before. My wife told me I was overreacting. Sammy said it was just typical teenage girl behavior. They share things, he said. It's what girls do. But I could see the frustration building in Zoey's eyes every time something else went missing.
Then came the incident that changed everything. Zoey had been saving her allowance and birthday money for over a month. She had her eye on something specific, a $60 MAC makeup palette that looked like a paint box. It was expensive, yes, but she'd worked hard to save for it. She was so proud when she finally bought it. 2 days later, she came to me in tears, real tears, the kind that break a father's heart. She was holding the palette in her hands, and I could see immediately that something was wrong. The carefully arranged colors had been mixed together, ruined beyond repair. Someone had used it like a child's finger painting set, swirling the shades together until they became a muddy mess. It was Sloane. She'd taken the palette from Zoey's room without asking, used it however she wanted, and destroyed something Zoey had spent a month saving for. When I confronted her about it, she shrugged. Just shrugged, like it was no big deal. I looked at my daughter's face, saw the hurt there, and something inside me snapped, not with anger, but with absolute clarity. This had to stop. My wife still insisted it wasn't a big deal. Sammy actually had the audacity to say that Zoey shouldn't be buying expensive adult makeup in the first place. He suggested she could just get a $15 kit from Walmart instead. $15 for something she'd saved $60 to buy, for something that represented a month of patience and anticipation, for something that was hers, that she'd earned, that she had every right to enjoy without having it destroyed by someone who didn't respect other people's property.
That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Zoey's face, about the pattern of disrespect that had been building for weeks, about how my wife and brother-in-law had dismissed every single complaint. I thought about what kind of lesson we were teaching my daughter, that her feelings don't matter, that she doesn't deserve basic respect in her own home, that saving for something and taking care of it means nothing if someone else wants to take it. No, that wasn't acceptable. Not in my house, not to my daughter. The next morning, I went to the hardware store and bought a lock. Not just any lock, but a proper one with a key. I installed it on Zoey's bedroom door while everyone else was out. When Zoey came home from school and saw it, she started crying again. But this time, they were different tears. Relief. Gratitude. Finally, someone was listening to her. I gave her the only key. Not my wife, not me, just Zoey. Her room, her space, her sanctuary. That's how it should have been all along.
When my wife saw the lock, she was furious, absolutely furious. She demanded to know what I'd done, and when I explained, she called me overprotective. She said I was babying Zoey. She accused me of creating division in the family and preventing her nieces from spending time with their cousin. Spending time? They weren't spending time together. They were taking her things and destroying them. That's not spending time, that's theft. Sammy was even worse. He said Zoey had a defect in her personality. A defect. Because she wanted to own nice things and take care of them. Because she didn't want her hard-earned possessions stolen and ruined. According to him, that made her vain and materialistic, trying to appear older than she was. I told him this was between me and my wife, that he needed to stay out of it. But my wife sided with him. She said the lock was shameful, that it would embarrass Olivia and Sloane, that I was supposed to treat them like my own daughters. Like my own daughters? I would never let my own daughter treat someone else the way they were treating Zoey. That was the point. That's what they didn't understand. My wife demanded I remove the lock. She said her entire family would hate me if I didn't. She said I was tearing the family apart. But I stood my ground. I told her the lock stays until Sammy and his daughters move out. The silence that followed was deafening.
I needed perspective. Was I wrong? Was I really being overprotective? Was I destroying my marriage over a bedroom lock? So I did what millions of people do when they need clarity. I posted my story on Reddit's AmItheA forum. The response was overwhelming. 81,000 upvotes, thousands of comments, and the verdict was nearly unanimous. I was not the a-hole. Not even close. Person after person told me I was doing the right thing. They said I was the only one standing up for my daughter. They pointed out that what Olivia and Sloane were doing wasn't typical teenage behavior. It was theft. It was disrespect. It was bullying. Someone suggested I start giving them my wife's expensive things to use and see how quickly she changed her tune. Another person said that any father who stands up for his child against the whole family is a hero. Multiple people said they wished their own parents had protected them the way I was protecting Zoey. One comment really stuck with me. It said, "Your daughter doesn't feel like she has any privacy or respect in her own home. You gave her back her sense of safety. That's not overprotective. That's being a good parent."
The lock is still on Zoey's door. My wife is still angry. Sammy is still living in my house, though I suspect not for much longer. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife, and I know this situation can't last forever. But you know what? Zoey smiles now. She comes home from school and goes to her room without that look of dread in her eyes, wondering what will be missing or broken this time. She decorates her space, knowing it will stay the way she left it. She saves up for things, knowing they'll still be there when she gets home. Is my marriage strained? Yes. Is the household atmosphere uncomfortable? Absolutely. But when I see my daughter feeling safe and respected in her own home again, I know I made the right choice. Looking back, I realize this was never really about a lock. It was about boundaries, about respect, about teaching my daughter that she deserves to have her space honored and her belongings protected, about showing her that someone will stand up for her even when it's difficult, even when it means conflict, even when everyone else disagrees. My wife says I'm choosing Zoey over the family, but Zoey is my family. She's my daughter, and choosing to protect her isn't choosing her over anyone else. It's simply refusing to let her be chosen last.
This situation raises questions that go beyond my household. How many teenagers feel unsafe in their own homes because adults dismiss their concerns? How many children are told they're overreacting when their boundaries are violated? How many parents choose peace over protection? Generosity shouldn't come at the expense of your own child's well-being. Opening your home to family members in need is admirable, but not when it means your child loses their sense of security. There's a difference between sharing and being taken advantage of. There's a difference between family bonding and theft. The lock on Zoey's door is more than just metal and mechanisms. It's a statement. It says, "You matter. Your feelings are valid. Your space is yours, and I will protect that, no matter what anyone else thinks." Sometimes being a parent means making unpopular decisions. Sometimes it means standing alone. And sometimes the right thing to do is also the hardest thing to do.
Thank you for listening to this story on Timeless Whisper. We share real stories about real people facing difficult decisions. If you've experienced something similar, or if this story resonated with you, please leave a comment below. Your perspective matters. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. We post new content every week, exploring the complicated, messy, beautiful reality of human relationships and the choices we make. Remember, standing up for what's right doesn't always make you popular, but it does make you honorable. Until next time, this is Timeless Whisper.